publishing house, taking it forward, and the acumen required to making it work is what we will now hear from our participants. I'll just call you. Stay there. On stage, you are seeing Monideepa Sahu, who herself is a writer, but before she even got into writing, she was in banking. So I'd love to hear how you moved from banking, but she has already authored 3 books, and the publishing house have been Zuban, Puffin, and Kitaab, and her 4th book is going to come out soon. It's called Collection of Asian Short Stories. We're looking forward to it. Welcome aboard, Monideepa. And the next speaker is Zafar Anjum. He runs the publishing house. He has a startup called Filmwalas. The publishing house is called Kitaab, right? And he's written books called Startup Capital, Autobiography of Iqbal, Life of Poet. He's a technology journalist since the past. He's been a journalist for the past 20 years, but for the past 10 years he's been writing about technology. So welcome. Over to you, Monideepa, to take over. I'm going to give you my mic and I'll give you Zafar. A big hand for them. Let's get them started. There you go, Zafar.
Thank you so much. And we'll start off by talking about Kitaab. Now, Kitaab means book, and Kitaab is all about books. And I should also start by telling you, books are stories, or we enjoy books which are stories, both of us. And there's a story behind Kitaab, how it started. And I happen to have also been, watching this story evolve. So I think the whole thing, did you start writing in 2002 or thereabouts?
Yeah, the personal writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your short
2001,
stories.
2002, yeah.
Short stories.
That's when I started writing it.
Yeah, so that's a long time. And we were in Zoetrope Virtual Studios, which is an online workshop founded by Francis Ford Coppola. And I ventured in, it was a total adventure. I was surfing the net and I found this to be a very good workshop, international workshop. I just joined it, I submitted a story. And the first critique I got of my story was from Zafar. So he's the first writer whom I made friends with there. And we never met. But I've been reading his stories, he's been reading my stories. And it happened over many years. Then he got published as an author. So many books are out. Then I've also been published. And we've been sharing a journey together. So that's one thing I think is also food for a story. And another interesting thing is, I think, if we had in those days met face to face, we probably would have had nothing to say to each other. You would have just seen, okay, what do I say to him or what do I say to her, and just walked off. But online, exchanging our work without speaking a word, and this is the second time that I'm meeting him in real life, in all these years. But we've had a rapport, so that's one story. And will you tell me how Kitaab started? When did you start it?
Yeah, let me go back to the Zoetrope story once again. So this was early days, right? Even before there was Google.com or before you had Facebook or before you had Twitter and all that. So that kind of platform which Coppola created for writers was amazing. And one of the most famous writers who came out of that platform was Chimananda, right? Chimamanda. She's a very well-known writer of color. And so that's where we met, and we have, as storytellers, our writing journey started around the same time. Though in my case, I had written a novel first, even before I learned how to write a book. I was very courageous, I would say. And in hindsight, I regret that. But anyway, when you were very young, you were so excited about being an author that you can go to Linux and do it. So after that, I moved to Singapore around 2004, and the genesis of Kitaab starts from there. When I moved there, I was seeing that, again, if you remember, 2004, 2005 was a very interesting era. Twitter, Facebook, everything was born around that time. We had something like blogger.com, right? So blogging was a very new phenomenon, and when I reached Singapore, I felt very lonely. I didn't have friends, I didn't have a circle of people around me to talk about books. Everything was very insular. Now, you have social media and you can find people, you can get connected with them, you can exchange your thoughts with them. But those days were different things. So blogging was one area where you could express yourself and potentially let others find you. So that's where the idea of Kitaab came, And I was also looking at the fact that in those days there were very few literary festivals. There was one in Nimrana, right? V.S. Naipaul had come, others had come. Jaipur had started. Whereas I was seeing that in UK, even in Hong Kong, right? There was this annual literary festival. Singapore had a literary festival once every 2 years. So, and the new ones were coming up, and I could see that there would be a trend of these things. And I was not finding any information, especially with regard to Asian writers on the websites. So I thought that why not, if I have to blog, why don't I blog about the Asian writers, the Asian publishing scene, and add information about all these festivals where people could go find out information what Asian writers are doing, interview them, highlight some of those who are not very big names but who are very talented. So that's how the whole idea of Kitaab started as a blog, and it was launched in 2005, and it was in a different shape, and the concept of I didn't know coding in those days, so I took some of my friends' help to create the website, and we had to update it and all that. Then I used Blogger to manage it. Now we have WordPress, luckily, so a lot of things we can do on our own. And so that's how it started. And in 2013, we started the publishing arm of Kitaab, again with the goal to help Asian writers connect with global readers. So that's the journey so far.
Yeah, and in Kitaab website also, before you started the publishing, I think there were stories and poems accepted from all over Asia. Stories written by Asian writers, set in Asia, poetry. So Kitaab had been selecting the best ones from all of them and publishing them. You can still go to the site and read what's already there. And about a lot of Asian writers who are not known. We live in India, we know Indian writers. But you know about Thai writers or writers from China. So you'll see that, Singapore also, lots of people are doing lots of things. And I remember that you had sent me some books to review. They were so interesting. There was a novel set in Malaysia. And it was about a young man who gets into drugs and crime and everything. And you learn about life in Malaysia and what happens there, and those books never come to India. So we don't know much about them. So it's about getting a wider understanding, which I really liked about Kitaab and that idea.
Yes, absolutely. That has been one of the main focus areas for Kitaab. Before I get to that, I should mention Monideepa as well. Thanks a lot to her. She has been one of the building blocks of Kitaab. What I did with Kitaab is I didn't want to create a normal magazine format or a normal website format. I wanted Kitaab to be a community-led initiative. So what I did, I wrote to a lot of like-minded writers and editors and all that, and I invited them to be a part of the movement. So somebody became fiction editor, they're all volunteers. Nobody was paid, the whole thing, the whole venture is run by us, and there's no advertising, there's no money making there. It's all kind of initiative, a movement by the writers and for the writers from Asia. So Monideepa has been associated with us for a long time as a fiction editor, and that's why she has read all these interesting fiction books. And over the years, we have grown a lot, and we have a large network of writers now, and we like to interview writers who are coming out with new books or doing interesting stuff. So, and from different areas. Now, one thing with regard to that is the anthology that we are trying to do, right? This is the best Asian short stories anthology, which Monideepa is editing for us, and it's going into a production stage now. Maybe you want to say more about how many writers from different countries
Oh God, I'm never going to do that again, Zafar. It was his idea, and it opened a Pandora's box, because we just put calls for submissions all over the net, different writers groups, and every few days I used to get about 30, 40 stories all in my inbox. Okay, so I look at them and I think, oh my God, I have to read them. It's not reading for fun. I have to read, I have to judge, and I was trying to read blindly. There were some very famous authors who have also submitted. But I wanted, and I know he also wanted it, to give everyone a chance. So, of course, we've taken the famous authors, but the new people, people we didn't know about. That was the biggest fun of it, and also the horror of having to judge all those stories. And at that time I broke my leg. It was all because of this. It was all his fault. I broke my leg. Okay, I broke my leg and I was advised bed rest. So instead of getting bed rest, I get every day another bunch of stories. And after that I found that after reading 10 stories with a lot of close scrutiny, my mind used to go blank. I cannot read more than this. And I cannot judge. Okay, give me a book to enjoy. But this is not enjoyment exactly. You have to say, okay, this we'll take. And these people, you please, we are sorry, but we can't take your story. It's a very tough one. So, that was one thing, it really hurt my healing process. And we tried to be very just about it. And I had nightmares that, I've done injustice to a writer because I returned the story, because there were a lot of borderline cases. Out of about 300, 350 stories that we got, we can't put that many in a book. And the borderline cases, you feel both are equally good. Then how do you judge what to keep and what to take? What to reject? So all those things I went through, and I feel I'm never going to edit again. Sucharita, it's for you. Hats off to people like you. She's a friend here. Yeah, she's an ace editor. Yeah. And I can never imagine doing it. Okay, have you ever edited?
Not
like that.
No.
Okay. But
I'm smart enough not to.
Yeah, he's too smart. He dumped it on me. Okay.
Okay, but this is something that we all will be proud of. I've seen the stories, writers from 7 countries, as far away as Syria, right?
Yeah, Syria, Jordan to Japan and Korea.
Japan, Korea and all that. So 7 countries, very eclectic collection. And inspired by that, we are launching more collections, So some different editors are working on like Best of Asian Travel Writing, Best of Asian Crime Fiction, and then probably a poetry series, we're just discussing today with the very famous poets. And so hopefully we want to do more good stuff, promote Asian writers and bring them closer to global readers. We have seen a lot of good quality stuff coming out of the West for a long time. Now it's upon us to bring Asian stories and bring them out and take it to them across the oceans. So there's the effort from Kitaab. We're also into translations. We are doing translations from different languages. Only recently we acquired 2 titles from Korea, 2 novels, and we are going to translate them and sell them into different markets. We are also trying to acquire rights from some Iranian short story writers, and then we are translating some Malay stories, from Malaysia, Singapore, into Hindi and Urdu for our markets in India. So we want stories to travel across. Within Asia, there is so much diversity, so much of cultural richness, and we are not aware of it, right? So imagine if we do, best of Cambodian short stories, the best of Thai short stories. Who would like to read them? So in the next coming years, we want to see a bookshelf, where we have all these volumes, and we can go and enjoy. What are the best Thai short stories? What are the best Myanmari short stories, etc., etc. So that's where we are trying to go. At the same time, we're also looking out for new writers, who are very talented and who needs to get, exposed to the wider, Asian readership within Asia and other markets. So some of the writers, like Siddharth is here, we are really proud to be bringing out his book, The Sacred Sparrows, pretty soon, and for the Singapore, Malaysia market. So we're always on the lookout for new writers, talented writers. who we can work with, and we feel that the world should look at their talent and enjoy the stories that they have.
So what made you go off into films then?
Okay, very interestingly, everybody has a life gives you so many things, and you keep learning, keep evolving. So the course of last 40 years, right? Even though I was always interested in films and filmmaking. When I was a kid, I was fascinated by cinema and I wanted to go into films. When I was in my 20s, I wanted to run away to Bombay and become a writer and make films. A lot of young people dream like that, but then I fell in love, and then there was some good sense prevailed upon me. I said, no, I will not do that. And life took a different turn, but that dream was always there, right? And I felt that it's not just me. There are a lot of people in the world who have this desire to tell stories, right? And today, when they have devices like smartphones in their hands, which can take videos, it's very easy for somebody who has a desire to tell a story to do it through his cell phone, right? But still, you need collaborators to make a film. Maybe you are a writer, or maybe you think you are good at taking, you're good at taking pictures or videos. But you need actors, you need editors, you need somebody to give you background score, and you need a good platform to share it on, a platform where others, informed people can look at it and give comments on your film that okay, this is how you can improve it, this is how you can take your art to the next level. So Filmwalas started with that idea, and if you see, there's a connection between Kitaab and Filmwalas. So if Kitaab is like a platform where young talented writers get an opportunity to tell their stories, Filmwalas is trying to do the same thing in the space of cinema. This is something that I call democratization of filmmaking. I want to democratize filmmaking. So filmmaking has always been considered a very expensive art, right? You need a lot of money to make film and then release it, and then I don't know if you recommend your interest or not. But because of the devices that we have today, the mobility, it is possible. And because of technology also, it is possible to find collaborators in your locality, in your geography, who might be like-minded like you. So this can be done on Facebook or other places as well, but I wanted to create a platform where specifically people with this mindset could come together and collaborate. So Filmwalas is a platform. If you go there, you will see that right now we launched it in this March. Right now we have 1,000 filmmakers on board from 7 countries, and you can have a chat with them, you can connect with them, you can jointly do projects with them. So there's a project creation space where you can go and create a project, and within that you can find your collaborators, cast and crew, technicians, etc., and create a project. And the ultimate idea is to create a platform which is end-to-end, which will digitize the whole filmmaking ecosystem. So even for professional filmmakers, right? If they're looking for ideas, for example, they can go to the platform. There's an ideas bank. They can look at pitches by writers. So let's say you are a scriptwriter, you can give a 1-minute pitch about your story, and if the director likes it, you say, hey, I like your story. Can you send me a screenplay? Then they get in touch. They have a meeting, or they discuss through email or whatever, phone call, or have a face-to-face meeting. They take it forward. The next step is, okay, you have your screenplay, you need your cast and crew, right? You need people to act in the film, you need technicians. And it depends, if you're making a short film, maybe you need 5 people. If you're making a feature film, you may need maybe 100, 200, 1,000 people, right? So, depends on what the scale is. But right now, the platform is built for short films and smaller projects, but we want to build it even for big feature film projects. And for that, we are invoking the concept of artificial intelligence, which means that, imagine tomorrow we have 1 million people on the platform, so you can do a lot of things there. So tomorrow, let's say Amir Khan wants to look for 2 girls to play, characters in his films. What will happen that instead of going to a casting agent and then a casting agent going to thousands of schools and interviewing, auditioning 10,000 students, he can come to the platform and he can key in the details of the person he's looking for, and the system will throw up, 5 choices or 10 choices for him. These are the people we think will suit the role you're looking for. So what he might have wasted time in doing in 6 months, he can get those results in 6 seconds probably. So that is the power of AI.
I have to do 30 seconds before we start the film. Yeah?
Okay. So I had one.
That is the main concept.
Yeah.
See, I had one last question. So you mean the artificial intelligence is sort of doing the decision making for you, or shortlisting the choices?
Shortlisting. So instead of you going to 10,000 profiles, imagine how much time you will waste. Okay, the system gives you, okay, there are the 3 top choices according to us. Then you can look at those, their videos, their work, and then you have to take the final call. The system will not take the final call. You have to take the final call.
So it's a kind of a Google for filmmakers.
Yeah, it's
Like
many.
Google knows everything.
Yes. So for filmmaking, you can call it a LinkedIn. You can call it, I don't know, it has YouTube also. It has microfunding also. So a lot of things. In one word, it's end-to-end platform. So from getting an idea to getting a cast and crew to getting microfinanced for your film to then making it and releasing it on the same platform, it can do everything. Right now, it can do only a few things because it's a new platform. We'll build more features into it. But the key element is the talent matching element, which is based on AI. So that's where it is going.
So you can write stories, you can make them into films, and you can find partners and collaborators all on the platform.
Yeah. 1 second before you run the film. This is so what we do is we also bring brands into the ecosystem. So for example, HCL Technologies, they gave us a team that make a short film on relationship beyond the contract, which is their corporate team. And we, through the contest open to all our filmmakers, and there were like 170 teams who participated in this contest. And finally, HCL chose 4 films, and the award was like $10,000. So we are going to show you the film which won the first prize. It's called The Complaint. Please.
And this is out of how many films? How many participated?
170 teams participated.
170. And from all over Asia. Mostly.
So what's the film?
You want to have the lights off?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right.
Sound?
Can you go back? Can you go back? Sound is on.
Restart. Let's do it.
Yeah.
पहले sound and pause करें sound.
The theme of this film was understanding and humanity. story about understanding and empathy, because we are seeing so much, misunderstandings, so much strife among people, among countries. We don't try to understand others. So this is a story about reaching out, of becoming friends, cooperation.
Anil, we'll give it a minute, otherwise I'm going to invite Zafar to talk about the film. Zafar, why don't we use this time for you to give us a background and tell us where we can find it online, whether on your...
It's on YouTube, not a problem.
Oh, so the complaint...
If you go to YouTube and you type the complaint, you should get it. It's hosted on a channel called Hamara Movie. Within YouTube you have the channel, Hamara Movie, and you can find it there. You can also find it on the Filmwalas channel on YouTube. It is a curated list of all the top films which have won the prize, and this film is also there. So the film is about this. I don't know. I don't want to reveal the thing.
So we are going to definitely see it on YouTube. So all of us will
hopefully
see it.
you will see it on YouTube, not here.
But maybe we can use the next few minutes. If anybody has a question for Zafar or Monideepa, please feel free to ask. We have about 3 minutes before we start and jump into the next session. So if we can just put on the lights and have anybody who has a question raise your hand. Okay.
Yes, please.
Just identify yourself.
Yeah. So I am Ashwani Dapre and I am working as an assistant professor in MIT University. Now I'm connected as a writer in industry. So my question is, since this is about starting writers and a portal script like Filmwalas, it is for filmmakers. So how is it like we upload? Is it like we prepare the project and we can upload it on your website, or we have to come?
Yes. So the process is like, let's say you are a writer. So in your case, you can go there. You can create a profile, and what we're going to do is we create a section for giving your pitches. So let's say you have a film to pitch. You can do a 1 minute record your video with your synopsis of the idea, and the idea can sit there. Anybody who is looking for ideas will go and look at your profile, and if he likes the idea, he'll contact you for the bigger script.
So it's like the way portals work. We have to create our account and then we.
Yes. So every filmmaker, or even if he's not a filmmaker, if you just want to go and watch films, you can go and create your account using your Facebook credentials or Google credentials. Is very easy, and the idea is to create connections, to enable you to connect with other people, like-minded people, to do whatever you want to do in terms of filmmaking.
We can have one more question. Okay, unfortunately we are so sorry we couldn't see the film, but thank you so much. I think it's a lovely concept, and you put in Google, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything together. I'm sure that we will, for the film.
I made it for myself.
But we all are going to be the beneficiaries.
And all of Asia, don't forget that.
All of Asia, yes. And Monideepa, thank you. We look forward to your book. Thank you.